It's been a long time coming, but it's finally here. Game day. Now, it's a preseason game, but it's still game day. We'll talk about that, plus a whole lot more on Thursday's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast for August 7th, 2025.
You are Locked On Raiders, your daily Las Vegas Raiders podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Raider Nation, to another edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Thank you so much for making the show your first listen of the day. We definitely appreciate you. If you're catching the show wherever you find your favorite podcast, or you're checking us out by way of the YouTube page, you know we appreciate both. The show continues to grow each and every day because of your consistent support and the great job that my man Ari does behind the scenes each and every day, making sure we look good and sound good on the Locked On Raiders podcast YouTube page. So shout out to Ari. He does a great job. He's on Twitter at Ari Produces. You can hit me up as well at your boy Q254. And we got the Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line for you at 707-654-4693. We'll close out the show hearing from you. A lot of really good calls, a lot of good texts, multiple subjects. So we'll do that coming up, segment number 3. Segment number 2, we'll take a look at what I'll be looking at and paying attention to the most in tonight's preseason game versus Seattle Seahawks, preseason game number 1. And don't want to get too hyped. It is just a preseason game, but it's still a game, which lets us know we're getting closer and closer to the start of the 2025 season. So we'll do that. Segment number 2. Here in segment number 1, just news and notes of the day, and really have a lot to do with the Raiders and the offensive side of the ball. I'll break that down in a hot minute. Off top, I do want to let you know, and this is just kind of small, but Thomas Booker, the latest defensive tackle in the room. If you're looking for his number, if you're looking to see if he's going to be out there in action tonight, I doubt it, but he's going to be number 47. That number was last assigned to Brandon Smith. Now, I don't think that that's going to be the number that he's eventually going to end up with when it's all said and done, but that's the number he is right now. So if you're paying attention, you want to see what this guy, Thomas Booker IV, happens to look like. He does wear number 47, or at least is going to be doing that as of right now. Once the cut downs happen, then I expect that he's going to get a number that looks better fit for the defensive tackle room. But that's who Thomas Booker, that's the number he's rocking right now. That is number 47. Now, I mentioned the Raiders offense, and I did a whole show on Wednesday based off the Raiders offense. And I really do think that this is going to be something that Raider Nation is going to be happy to see, this Raiders offense. I think it's going to be really good, led by Chip Kelly, obviously Geno Smith, the quarterback, but I feel like there's plenty of weapons, and they're going to show you, right? It's not going to be about me telling you. They're going to show you sooner rather than later, and I think you're going to be happy with what this Raiders offense looks like. But there are a lot of folks out there nationally that believe that the Raiders offense is going to look really good as well. Matter of fact, I mentioned doing that segment with Ari Mayrod from the 33rd-team.com, the little NFL spotlight. I recorded that on Wednesday morning. Matter of fact, that's going to air later on today, so be on the lookout for that, about 30 minutes on the Raiders. But he kept telling me, man, I think this offense is going to be good. I think this offense is going to be a lot sneaky. It's not sneakier and better than a lot of people expect. Like, a lot of people are sleeping on what this Raiders offense could do, but he keeps telling me he thinks it's going to be really good, and I feel the exact same way. But we're not the only ones that are talking about the offense. Multiple guys on the national scene are talking about it as well, including Chris Canty from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio was talking about Ashton Jeanty and what he believes Genty's going to do this season. As a rookie, check it out. Some pretty high expectations from one Chris Canty.
Rookie running back Ashton Jeanty will lead the league in rushing and set a new rookie rushing record. Since the NFL-AFL merger, 6 rookies have led the league in rushing. Eric Dickerson currently holds the rookie rushing record with 1,808 yards set in 1983. Jeanty is poised to break it. Head coach Pete Carroll and offensive coordinator Chip Kelly are going to do what they've always done, which is run the hell out of the football. And Jeanty is a 3-down back built exactly for this type of approach. He can run, he can catch, and he can pass protect, which means he'll never come off the field. The Raiders don't have a lot of weapons to rely on the offensive side of the ball, and we're living in an era where running the football is trendy again. In a division that features the best collection of quarterbacks in the NFL, Vegas will have to win games with a ground and pound mentality. Jeanty led the FBS in rushing last season with 2,600 yards, including 1,700 after first contact. He's a BYOB type of back. That means bring your own blocker, and could prove to be the most elusive runner in the league in short order.
Now, I don't think that Ashton Jeanty is going to break all kind of records, shatter the Eric Dickerson rookie rushing record. Like, I don't expect him to do that, but I do expect him to be a key cog in this Raiders offense, right? I mean, you know that Pete Carroll wants to run the ball. You know Chip Kelly needs to have a running game to make that offense go. So it's going to start with Ashton Jeanty. Brock Bowers is going to be heavily involved, but I do think there's other guys in that Raiders running back room that are going to have something to say about it again. Not like they're going to be taking a bunch of carries from Genty, but guys like Mostert, guys like Zamir, guys like Sincere, right? They all have an opportunity to touch the ball as well. So I don't think that you're going to see Genty with those kind of numbers because the Raiders do have other weapons, but I like where the big fella was going with lofty expectations, including Offensive Rookie of the Year for Ashton Genty. Now, he said Offensive Rookie of the Year. I said Offensive Rookie of the Year. Louis Riddick, got a lot of respect for him. He's part of ESPN as well. He believes he's going to be, Ashton Genty will be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Check it out.
Fill in the blank. Who will win Offensive Rookie of the Year?
I think this is a slam dunk for Ashton Genty. The dude is just an absolute playmaking machine. Now, I know that the level of competition is going to be much different for him, but just think about some of the things he did last year. This guy had 5 TDs of 70-plus yards, 10 of 50-plus, 29 TDs. The average distance was 28 yards. So he is a home run hitter. But I'll tell you this, look, this guy is going to rip it up this year, and people are going to say, look, don't talk to me about running backs not being worth being drafted in the top 10.
More love right there for Ashton Genty and what he brings to the table. But the thing about it is, it's more than just Ashton Genty. It's not just going to be the Ashton Genty show and that's it. Again, I think with Geno Smith at the helm and you're having a guy like Brock Bowers, a guy like Big Mike, you'll actually hear from Big Mike in a hot minute. I got a chance to catch up with him following practice on Tuesday, so you'll hear from him in a second. But, you know, you got a guy like Jacoby Myers who's Mr. Consistent. You've got a guy like Jack Bech, Dante Thornton. These guys are also going to be able to get involved. And then there's Trey Tucker. What do you do with Trey Tucker? Albert Breer, I got a lot of respect for him, Monday Morning Quarterback, SI.com. He was at Raiders practice on Friday and dropped these little nuggets about Trey Tucker.
I think Trey Tucker becomes an interesting weapon for them because I don't think he's had somebody at quarterback with the ability to get him the ball downfield. And every coach that I've talked to who's had Trey Tucker there has said, like, oh my God, we're excited in the different ways we can use him, and he's so explosive. So that's a name to watch because I think Geno's arm strength might unlock Trey Tucker.
There's Albert Breer, just a few seconds, right? It doesn't have to be some elaborate conversation, but just he believes that with Geno Smith at the quarterback position, he can open up Trey Tucker and show what other quarterbacks that the Raiders have not been able to do. A lot of times they try to just stretch the field with them, and, well, one reason or the other, it doesn't happen. The quarterback won't let it go. They don't trust their arm. They can't get it to him. They make him slow down and have to come back to the ball, and what a 30-yard gain should have been a touchdown, but it's not. There's been a lot of different reasons why Trey Tucker hasn't started to flourish as an absolute wide receiver in this league, but from what I've seen so far from the mock game on Saturday at Allegiant Stadium to what we see every day in practice, I do think Trey Tucker is going to get heavily involved. Geno Smith the other day after we talked to him at practice said that he was comparing Trey Tucker to Santana Moss. Yeah, that guy, Santana Moss. So we'll see if he can live up to expectations like that. But obviously Geno Smith has a little bit of a chemistry with him as well. You know who else he has a chemistry with? Big Mike, right? We know what Brock Bowers is going to be. We saw him last year, his rookie year, break records. We saw him Saturday at the mock game, get a couple touchdowns, look like, okay, he's picking up where he left off. But what about Big Mike? He's going into year 3. I've talked about OTAs. I've talked about mandatory minicamp, talked about training camp. He looks the part. I caught up with him after practice on Tuesday. Check it out. Here at Raiders tight end, Michael Mayer, Big Mike. Man, I've been saying you've had a really good OTAs. You had a really good mandatory minicamp. Training camp looks like it's going really well. How are you feeling out there?
I'm feeling great. You know, it's honestly about keeping my head down, working hard, listening to my coaches, listening to Stack, what type of culture we're trying to build here, listening to Pete about that. And we feel good about what we're doing here, and we're just trying to get better every day.
Looks like you have a really good chemistry with Geno Smith already.
For sure. I think that started in the spring here, you know, end of March, beginning of April when we got out here. Just throwing routes, man. It's about repetition. Especially a guy like that who's got his accuracy. You want him to know exactly how you're going to run your routes, when you're going to break, stuff like that. We definitely got a great connection, and the tight ends too have a great connection with Geno.
Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it looks like this Chip Kelly offense fits you really well. How are you feeling about just the offense that you're in right now?
Yeah, I love Chip. Chip's done a great job. Our offense is awesome right now. We can do 11, we can do 12, we can do 13. We got great tight ends in the room, and I think Chip knows that, and we've been using them this camp. We used them in the spring. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the season goes.
I've been saying, you know, we've been hearing about 12 personnel. We don't really see it. I feel like we're really going to see it this year.
I think so, too. And, you know, I think with the preseason games, it's always what are you going to show, what are you not going to show, things like that. But, yeah, you know, Chip's our leader on offense. We're going to listen to him, and what he wants to call, we're going to, you know, execute to the best of our ability.
What was it like to be back in Allegiant Stadium on Saturday for that mock game, and you had a couple big catches back-to-back?
Awesome, man. Awesome. Our fans were there. Energy was fantastic. I'm excited to get that first home game underway, see what the Black Hole is all about, and get a win.
Is it just kind of surreal that it's a game week? I know it's a preseason game, but it's still a game week.
It's surreal, yeah. It feels like you're here for camp, and then 2 seconds later, you're going into your first preseason game. But that's kind of how the days roll together, Keep your head down, work hard. And I'm excited to kind of hit somebody else. I'm excited. I'm tired of hitting Crosby. I'm tired of hitting Kyrie. All those guys.
Somebody else. Yeah. Anybody else but the guys that look like us, right? I know that's right. But, yeah, I mean, again, it's a game week coming up. Pete just said everyone is live, so are you expecting to get some burn on Thursday?
100%. 100%. Yeah. I think everybody is. It's going to be really good practice for me, really good repetition for me, working on my blocking technique, hands inside, feet running, and then obviously hopefully catch some balls. Yes, sir.
How have you felt like you've kind of matured in the NFL as an NFL tight end from year 1 to now you're already year 3?
I think I understand things a little bit better. I think coming in as a rookie, there's a lot of stuff that's going on.
Right.
From in front of you, behind you, from the side of you, all those type of things. And, it's just I understand things better. I know how to work my body. I know what the quarterback's asking of me, what the OC, what the tight ends coach asking of me. And, do my job. Nothing else matters. And I think rookie year, sometimes you just get wrapped in so much stuff.
Right.
You're going into your 3rd year. You know exactly what you need to do. You know your jobs. You know your placements. You know your techniques. Just do them.
What do you think about when you look around your tight end room? Every single one of you guys have talent.
Stacked, absolutely stacked. We go out there and watch practice in the film room, and we're just making catches left and right, all of us. It's freaking awesome. Steck's done a fantastic job with us. Luke Steckel, our tight ends coach, great dude, great coach. And, man, we're just going to try to keep it rolling.
Pete Carroll's theme is always compete. That's what you guys are doing, but you're also supporting each other. How does that dynamic work?
Yeah, I mean, that's at the end of the day, we're on the same team and we want to win,
right?
So whatever gets us to that point, we'll do. And, there's certain things that Chip will ask of this tight end or the other tight end are stacked the same. And, we got our positions in the offense too. And so it goes back to do your job, man. Your job. The other tight end's in there with you. You do your job. He does your job. If one of them scores or 5 score, or vice versa, man, we got points on the board. Let's roll.
Right. Yeah. That's all it's about, right? At the end of the day, it's scoring a lot of points. You guys go out and draft Ashton Jeanty, obviously, to be the lead dog when it comes to the running back room. What is it like just working with him?
He's a big dog, man. He's a big dog, yeah. I can't wait to see him in full pads ready to go Thursday. But it's been great, man. It's been awesome blocking for him. He's a great dude. He works really hard, keeps his head down, and he wants to win too. So, we're working together on that.
I wanted to ask you about one more guy, Jack Besh. He's a rookie wide receiver, but he's a tough dude too. And he can block as well. You're a guy that blocks. What are you seeing from him just from blocking and physicality?
Yeah, he's very physical.
Yeah.
Very physical. I think, as I was talking about before, as a rookie, you're coming in, you're figuring things out.
Yeah.
And I think the first couple of days he was figuring things out, and, man, he's really stepped up. He's doing good catching the ball out of the air. He's doing good blocking. He's running his ass off. He's doing such a good job, and I'm very proud of him, and especially for the dude he is. He's an awesome dude.
Big Mike, appreciate you. Have fun on Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
That's the guy on my radio show on Wednesday. I was talking about who are you most excited about in this offense. And obviously, like everyone wants to see Ashton Jeanty. Brock Bowers, that's easy. I really look forward to seeing Big Mike. You heard the conversation that I had with them, right? We were promised 12 personnel last year. We didn't see it. I do believe we're going to see it this year, and we'll see sprinkles of 13 personnel. I truly do believe that between Bowers, Big Mike, and Ian Thomas, that tight end room is stacked. That's a very talented tight end room, and I think Chip Kelly is going to find a way to get all those guys involved, which goes back to my original point of why I don't think Ashton Jeanty will get the kind of numbers that Chris Canty is talking about, breaking records. Like, if he was the only guy that they had, or maybe only had one other pass catcher, then I could see maybe that's the direction that they're going to go. But, man, I just feel like there's so many weapons on this offense, and I think Chip Kelly has an opportunity to get very creative within. You heard what Big Mike said about Chip Kelly's offense as well. Now, that doesn't mean that that's what we're going to see tonight. That's going to be on display, and all of a sudden we're going to get fired up and know exactly what the identity of the offense is going to be. We won't find that out until week 1 when they go to New England to take on the Patriots. But it is something to get excited about, and I do see glimpses of it in practice on the daily. So that's why when I say it's something to get excited about, I truly believe this Raiders offense is something to get excited about. But what will I be paying attention to? What will I be looking for in preseason game number 1 tonight versus Seattle Seahawks? We'll talk about it in segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about one of the great sponsors here on the show, and that is FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. I mean, you're already following the action, so why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Folks have been using FanDuel to track their favorite matchups. The app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. Fast to pay out, and it makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. It's something that you definitely want to be a part of. If you want to make a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like you're part of the action. New to FanDuel? No worries. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open up the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, Raider Nation, here we go. Segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Time to talk about game day, baby. It's a preseason game, but it's still game day. We've been talking about a lot leading up to today. Obviously, there's 3 of these bad boys before the regular season gets going, but it's going to be fun to see these guys, especially after seeing them on Saturday in the little mock game and going through their routine. It's going to be good to see them out there on the grass there in Seattle. And again, don't know exactly who's going to play. I know Pete Carroll on Tuesday after practice said that everybody is live, everyone's available. Some people took that as, all the starters are playing. All the starters are playing. He never said that. It's still TBD. Now, they very well could play some starters. Like, would it shock me if Geno Smith got a series or 2? No, not at all. Would it shock me if Big Mike, as you heard him talk about in segment number 1, gets a series or 2? No, not at all. But I don't expect to see guys that we expect to do heavy lifting in the regular season really get a lot of burn in tonight's game. But it'll give opportunity for the younger guys to kind of show up and show out. So I've got 3 categories. All right, maybe 4 categories that I'm really going to focus in on in tonight's game. Off top, the offensive line, first and foremost. I think that it goes without saying, right? Are you going to see the starting offensive line? Obviously, as TBD, we don't know. But if we do, is it going to be Miller, Parham, Meredith, JPJ, and Glaze? That's what it's been, right? Is it going to be that? Is it going to be a combination of maybe someone else sliding in for Miller or Glaze? I think it's very important that those guys get at least a start and get a series or 2 under their belts just so they can get some game action together. The offensive line, even though I know a lot of people aren't big on playing your starters in the preseason, especially the first game, this offensive line has to come together. We talked about the offense in segment number 1. If this offensive line isn't worth the salt, guess what? That offense that I'm talking about, man, you're going to be happy about it. That offense ain't going to be worth the salt, right? You've got to be able to have that offensive line protect Geno and open up holes for Ashton Genty. If that offensive line ain't on point, the rest of the offense is not going to matter. I don't care who's calling plays, right? Chip Kelly or whoever, right? Whoever you think is the best play caller in the history of play calling, I don't care who's calling the plays. If that O-line's not in point, then you're in trouble. So I would like to see Miller, Parham, Meredith, JPJ, and DJ Glaze get some reps, get some burn, maybe even a couple series just to get a little bit of familiarity with each other, because right now that feels like the direction that this offensive line is going, right? Will JPJ maybe run with the 2s at the center position? Will they kind of mix and match? Maybe put Alex Kappa in there, right? That's TBD, to be determined. So I'm definitely going to be paying attention to the offensive line. It's something that we focus in on at practice every single day. So it would be a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer to make sure that that's the first thing that we're taking a look at. Then defensively, I want to look at the cornerbacks. Right? I mean, are you going to get Stokes and Porter? Now that Jacorian Bennett's not there, these look like the guys that are going to be your starters, Stokes and Porter. DCam and Porter, at what point are they going to get some play? I think Porter's going to get some burn, some really good burn. I think DCam's going to get some really good burn. JT Woods and DCam, I think those guys are going to get some burn. And then in the slot, you got Greedy Vance, Caillou Blue Kelly. Obviously, Darnay Holmes is a starter there, but I expect all those guys to get some real good burn tonight. I mean, really, there's none of those guys, and Eric Stokes is a guy who's been around for a while, and he does have an injury history, so they might want to be careful with him. He's been playing really well so far in training camp, so he might be the guy that they only give 1 series, maybe 2 series to. But the rest of those guys that I mentioned, Darian Porter, DeCam Richardson, JT Woods, Greedy Vance, Caillou Blue Kelly, all those guys need to be out there. There's no doubt about it. Now that Jacorian Bennett is gone, everybody who has CB by their name needs to be out there and in some action and trying to get familiar with each other, trying to just get more familiar with the scheme. It's going pretty good at practice, but it's going pretty good at practice, and it's going up against their own guys. Now they're getting to go up against another opponent that, is not trying to save them for the beginning of the regular season. They want to take their lunch money and go in and cash out. So I'd like to see the cornerbacks, all the guys that I mentioned, definitely get some burn. Flipping back to the offensive side of things, how about the running backs? All the running backs not named Genty, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ashton Genty for like a series, maybe a couple runs, especially if he breaks one. Like if he has one run about 5 yards and another run about 12 yards or something. All right, he's good, right? I could see them pulling him after that. But Zamir White, Raheem Mostert, Sincere McCormick, I would think that they wouldn't run Mostert a lot since he is a veteran, but the competition there is thick. Zamir White and Sincere McCormick in particular, I expect to see a lot of those guys. Dylan Lobby, we know he'll get some burn as well, especially in the second half of the game. But really who I'm paying attention to are those running backs not named Genty and not named Lobby, right? White, Mostert, and McCormick. Because, again, behind Genty, there's a real competition. Zamir White, if you're looking at the depth chart, I got it right here on my computer, he's listed there as second on the depth chart, him or Mostert. Right, and then McCormick is pulling up the rear. So that's why I think that it's very important. They've got to get as much burn as possible. We know Zamir did not have a very good 2024. A lot of that was on him. A lot of that was on the offensive line. A lot of that was on the play calling. So there was a lot of reason for Zamir White not to have a good 2024. Plus, he wasn't fully healthy either. Well, now he is. He looks fast. Pete Carroll said the other day that he's the hammer. Doesn't want him to be anyone else but himself. So basically, don't try to be Genty. Be you, right? Just do what you do and do what you do best. And so far, that's what he's been doing at training camp. So Zamir White, Raheem Mostert, Sincere McCormick, definitely paying attention to the running backs as well. And I mentioned maybe 4 because that was 3, offensive line, cornerbacks, and running backs. I got to look at the quarterbacks too, right? I mean, we know Geno Smith is a starting quarterback. Aiden O'Connell, I feel very comfortable that he's the number 2 quarterback. Cam Miller, you're going to see a lot of him, but how much are you going to see? Are you going to see like a half? Or are you going to see 3/4? Is O'Connell going to start the game? Is Geno going to, you know what I mean? What kind of distribution do they have at the quarterback position, right? And what can Aiden O'Connell do? Because I'll tell you, in the mock game on Saturday, he didn't have any time to even get rid of the ball, right? They were in the backfield a lot, which tells you a lot about the second string offensive line. It just wasn't cutting it, and Aiden O'Connell didn't get any opportunity to really let the ball loose. Even in practice on Tuesday, wasn't able to really let the ball rip. So I'd like to see Aiden O'Connell just continue to learn the Chip Kelly offense, maybe give him a quarter, maybe even give him a half, right? If that's what you feel like you need to do, and then let Cam Miller close things out. But I'm sure we'll probably see Cam Miller in the first half. Like I said, I don't expect to see much from Geno. I guess it all depends on how many possessions the Raiders have. But Aiden O'Connell and Cam Miller, and obviously Cam Miller, I just want to see how he continues to develop at the quarterback position. He's a long way away from being, the guy or potentially fighting for the number 2 spot. He's still got to go ahead and put his best foot forward and just figure out what the NFL is all about. That's not easy at the quarterback position. So that's what I'll definitely be paying attention to. Offensive line, first and foremost, the cornerbacks, running backs not named Genty, and then the quarterbacks behind Geno Smith. And like I said, man, it's just fun to see a game going on, some kind of form of a game going on. I think it'll tell you a lot about a guy like Tommy Mellott if we see him or how much we see him, right? If they give him an opportunity to kind of showcase his skill set, then you're probably looking at a guy that they plan on keeping on the 53-man roster. If you don't see him get any burn, then he's probably a guy that they're thinking that they might be able to waive and then sneak him through waivers and put him on the practice squad. So I think you'll get some little small sample sizes as well. And I think that that's something to pay attention to when it comes to the young guys. How many of the young guys actually really get in and get some burn where they can maybe showcase, put a little film out there? Because again, these guys are going to want to protect a lot of these young dudes that aren't going to make the 53-man roster when it's all said and done. They're going to want to protect these guys, cut them, let them go through waivers, and then put them on the practice squad. But if there's too much film out there, if they make a little bit of noise, they might not have the opportunity to do that. So that's also something to pay attention to. Just kind of a little side nugget when you're paying attention to preseason games, because that is all part of the, I want to say gymnastics or the math problem that GMs and front offices and teams in general, they have while they're going through their 90-man roster, trying to get it down to a 53-man roster. But what's on your mind? Your calls and texts will close out the show. 707-654-4693. We hear from you next here on today's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Before we get to that, though, I do want to remind you that this episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of year. NFL kickoff is almost here, and that means fantasy football season is back in full swing. And this year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. Plenty of shows are playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. The updates that they're rolling out this month are wild because they've been doing this for a minute, 28 years. They're doing some big-time features. So to celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout the month of August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues. It's a great new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's only one team left standing. With the season right around the corner, now's the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. Or if you're more into the classics, you can still play in head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more great announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Here we go, Raider Nation. Segment number 3 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Your calls and texts. Straight off that Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line, 707-654-4693. We'll start things off with a call from Raider Jacob in Oregon, calling with 3 thoughts and questions. They're real quick. Kind of real quick. Here he is, Raider Jacob in Oregon.
Hey, Q. This is Raider Jacob up here in Oregon. I got 3 things I want to touch on, so I kind of want to keep it concise and short and sweet. That way you can hopefully answer or give your feedback on all 3. But one, I've had great feelings all off season, and the first negative feeling I had was surrounding JPJ. And I don't know if this is not necessarily a game they're playing with him or a message that they're trying to send, but everything that I've seen from Jackson Powers-Johnson, I mean, I watch a lot of tape from different offensive linemen. That's, something that just kind of has always interested me. And he's, I mean, everything that I hear about him, everything that I see about him says he has potential to be probably the best center in the league. So I'm just curious on how you feel about it and if you feel the same way. Secondly, Genty returning punts. That's exciting. I mean, it definitely would be awesome to see him do that. But I also kind of feel a little bit of hesitation. I want to make sure he's protected and we're utilizing him in the most effective way possible, and not overworking our horse there. And then third, I just wanted to kind of touch on other trade ideas, and if you think we have any other holes that this regime might be looking to fill. Everybody obviously is talking about Scary Terry. I think he's going to stay in Washington. But man, I can't lie about how exciting it would be to have Micah Parsons on the other end of Max Crosby there. It'd be like the perfect kryptonite to this Chiefs offense. What better way to respond to a dominant organization like they have been by, being the best defense and just polarizing that, and just defeating them in a totally opposite way. But, I don't know. It just gets me excited. So just curious about your take on any of those things. Really appreciate everything you guys do. And you're definitely my first listen of the day. I don't know if that's subliminal marketing or whatever that you guys got going on, but just hearing that, I automatically play you guys as soon as I start my day. So that's working if that's the case. All right, thanks, Q. Raider Nation. Love y'all.
Jacob, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you. And I kind of remember having a call like this on Wednesday's show. JPJ, they're not messing with him. There's no way that they're messing with him. They're looking to get the best 5 out there. It's just that simple, right? Pete Carroll said it on Tuesday. I had the sound on Wednesday's show where, he knows that Meredith has been a guard. He knows JPJ's been a center, but they think that they see something. It's far from over. It is not a done deal record. The competition is not a wrap. I know it might look like that. I know I have the depth chart here that says it probably is, but I would not say that it is. They're absolutely trying to see if they can get the best 5 guys out there. Genty as a punt returner, look, he's second on the depth chart. He might be a guy that you see in there to switch things up, or if Trey Tucker gets banged up, or maybe late in the game, they need a big play and they think, let's just get the ball to Genty and see what he can do. Maybe they'll put him out there. I don't expect to see him out there too much. But the fact that he can do it is a bonus. And as far as trades, I just don't see the Raiders making any big trades like the ones you're talking about, right? As much as I would like to see Scary Terry or Micah Parsons, because I think they'd be both big additions to the team, I just don't see it happening at all, right? Scary Terry's one thing. Micah Parsons is going to cost you a ton, right? Think about what it cost the Bears to acquire Khalil Mack from the Raiders and then put extras on it because it's 2025. Yesterday's price is not today's price. So, yeah, I definitely do not believe any of that's happening. Oh, by the way, I don't see Jerry letting Micah Parsons out of Big D either. So there's that. And then when it comes to the first listen of the day, yeah, it's definitely branding, right? It's something that we've been doing now. We've been saying for a long time. It is effective. It's something that sticks in my mind all the time. And it's just like Nike, right? Just do it. Well, it's the first listen of the day. So I'm glad that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing as well. Thanks so much for the call, my man. Definitely appreciate you. Up next, got a text from Mark in North Carolina. It says, hey, Q, it's Mark from North Carolina. I've been a Raiders fan my whole life, but this text is more about life. I have to thank you for your show. It's helped me through a rough couple of months. I lost both my parents the last 2 months, and with all the pain and sad times and now going through all the estate stuff, your show has been my 40 or so minutes away from all that. And thank you for everyone for calling in and texting the show, too. I may not agree with everything, but it's definitely my escape right now in this hard time in my life. And for that, I'm forever grateful for it. Sometimes, Q, I don't think you realize all you do for people, but you have done a lot for me. Thank you for what you do, and always go Raiders. Thank you. That's Mark from North Carolina. And Mark, thanks so much for the text. Really appreciate that. Means a lot to me. And, the funny thing is that's what this show is for. And even when I was in my, darkest times and roughest period of time that I was going through, this show was a good escape for it as well, because just like you said, it's you're 35 or 40 minutes away from whatever's going on. It was the same for me. On top of that, I get to talk to a lot of people at Allegiant Stadium. Each and every Raider home game we'll meet at Coors Light Landing, and I get to hear stories, and I'll hear people say, hey, man, I was listening to your show when this was going on in my life, or hey, man, this was going on. And that, because you don't know, like you have no idea. Hell, I don't know if anyone's listening, period. Right? I mean, I have no idea, period. I don't know who's listening. I mean, obviously we can go look and see how many downloads, this, that, and the other, how many subscribers, but you never know who's listening and who's not. But when you hear stories like you're saying that, hey, this means a lot and this is why it means a lot, that's when it's like, okay, it's all worth it. There's times where you just don't want to do a show. There's times where you just, you want to kind of just do your own thing or take a day off because you're tired or you don't feel good or whatever the case may be. But it goes back to those messages and like your text that make you say, nah, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this, man. Right? Because someone right now could actually need this. And honestly, I'll take it a step further. This goes back, and I got to give my dad credit for this. This goes back to the pandemic in 2020, which we never, ever want to go back to, right? But I remember when I was working at ESPN Central Texas, we never missed a day. Like, we never missed a day of work. And I remember joking with my dad on the phone. I was like, well, I guess I'm essential because we haven't missed a day of work. And he's like, yeah, you are. You're definitely essential. People don't have any idea what's going on in this crazy world right now. And so to not think about it and not be worried or whatever, or hearing, what kind of horror stories could be going on, they tune into you guys. Yeah, there ain't no sports going on right now, but you guys are keeping it light. You guys are keeping it fun. You guys are entertaining. And for someone, that's their escape. So when he said that, that's when it really clicked, like, oh, yeah, okay, you're right. So you never know what you're going to learn and when you're going to learn it. But, yeah, thank you so much for that text, my man. And hopefully, everything does help you get through what's going on. I'm sure that the rough time that you're going through is very tough, losing both your parents. But thanks so much for the text. Definitely appreciate you. Up next, got a call from Kels, the Raider in Seattle. He's calling to talk about how he's feeling and the Raiders having feeling not only for the preseason game tonight, but just the team in general. Here's Kels, the Raider, up in Seattle.
Yo, what up, Q? It's your boy, Kels, the Raider, calling from out here in Seattle. I'm just calling to say, first and foremost, as always, shout out to you. Shout out to Ari. Y'all be holding it down, doing your thing. And, I just was calling because, I'm feeling good. Nothing really too crazy. Preseason game tomorrow. I know it's just preseason, but man, I am pumped. And I'm hoping that the rest of the Raider Nations come with me because I think we about to go out here. We about to do our thing. And, I'm from Seattle. So, every time the Raiders come to Seattle, I get to see them. And, I hope that y'all remember last time, we rode up here in the 206 and, Josh Jacobs got that win in OT, or the whole team did, but Josh Jacobs had that crazy run. And, Raider Nation shows up when we play out here. Every time I'm here, we show up and we hold it down. Anybody listening, if it's your first time going to a game out here, you're going to love it. It's about to be an amazing time. And, like I said, we rode through deep. If you need a place to go to before the game, there's a place called the Press Box. It's right by the stadium. That's where we be kicking it at. And if you gonna see how dark you get up in there. Yeah, everybody be representing. It's like a little home for us. If you even listen to that play that Josh Jacobs ran, just listen to the crowd. and because we was not home, but we was at home, and that's always a good feeling. And I hope that we start this season off, rolling. Even though, like I said, I know it's just preseason, but it's still good. It's gonna feel good to see the boys get out there on the, in the field and do their thing and see what they've been working on and see what things that we still need to work on and what we're gonna get to later on in this season. So yeah, I just was calling to say, what up, Raider Nation, man? Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Raider Nation, one love. Just win, baby.
Big Kels, thanks for the call, my man. Appreciate you. Appreciate the juice and energy and excitement behind this game and just the preseason game and, just the team in general. And I think that that's really a feeling that you share and a lot of Raider Nation shares with you is the excitement about this upcoming season. And I know we've all been there, done that, got excited just to get disappointed. We talked about it here on the show. Does it feel different? Yep. Does it feel right? To me, it does. It feels right. It looks right. Are there areas that they still have to improve? Absolutely. But man, it just feels like that the train is on the track and it's going in the right direction. And that's all you could ask for, right? You just want them to go out there, be competitive, be scrappy. My guy, Ari Mayrov, he described this Raiders team as they're going to be annoying. And that's not annoying in a bad way. It's just annoying for teams that are really good and they think, oh, this is going to be an easy dub, and the Raiders ain't going to let that happen, right? That was something Albert Breer said. What did he say? I got it right here. He said, this is a Pete Carroll program. You can feel it when you walk in. I don't know that this is a team that's going to be a real threat in the AFC West in 2025, as strong as that division is, but it would not surprise me if Pete Carroll has his team as one that you don't want to play if you're a contender late in the year. That's from Albert Breer, Monday Morning Quarterback. That was one of his 5 notes that he had when he was talking about the Raiders and their this team when he visited the camp last Friday. And, yeah, that goes back to annoying. It's going to be annoying for a lot of teams that think they're going to just roll the Raiders, and then they're going to get really surprised. But thanks so much for that call, my man. Enjoy the game. Definitely appreciate you. Up next, I just got time for a couple more. Got a text from Raider Ralph. Game day, baby. Raider fans since the mid-'70s, love your shows and the way you keep us up to date on the boys in the offseason. I loved AP, but I'm glad we got an experienced OG of a coach to compete in the AFC West. I know you're hooked up, and I was wondering if you could find out what happened to Pete up there in Seattle when he got bumped upstairs. He didn't forget how to coach, and that team hasn't been the same since he left. See what you can find out for us. Just curious. That's from Raider Ralph. Raider Ralph, thanks for the text. Appreciate you. Yeah, that was some of the immediate homework I did when Pete Carroll was even talked about being hired as the Raiders coach. Like, okay, well, what did happen in Seattle? And they just said that the message, got dry and got stale, and they needed a new voice there. And his methodologies. That's not the right word. Anyway, you know what I mean. His methods weren't what they were supposed to be. They just kind of, again, dried up, and he needed to continue to evolve. And it seemed like he had just kind of slowed down when it came to evolution. Now, fast forward to what he's doing with the Raiders. He had time away from being on the sideline. He was able to observe a lot of the college game. He was able to bring in some analytics, which is something that he never was a fan of when he was in Seattle. There's a lot of things he does now and embraces now that just shows that he has evolved as a head coach. Even hiring Chip Kelly. Like, when have you seen Pete Carroll have an offensive coordinator like Chip Kelly with those kind of skins on the wall? He doesn't, right? But he did here, because he realizes that he needs to continue to evolve and make this a real deal team. And so I think that year away for him was really good to sit back and analyze and watch a lot of football, as he said, and kind of understand that, okay, you can't keep doing the same thing every single year and think it's going to work. You have to continue to evolve. If you don't evolve, you get left behind. In that time when Pete Carroll got moved from the sideline to upstairs, he was being left behind. But thanks so much for the text. I appreciate you. Enjoy the game this evening. We'll get one more from Cyrese in the Bay. He has a question for me after all the dust is settled from the Christian Wilkins situation, Jacorian Bennett situation, him being traded earlier this week. It's an important question, really, involving the cornerback room. Here's Cyrese in the Bay.
What up, Q? It's boy Cyrese from the Bay, man. Just sitting in this traffic here. You know how that is. What's going on, man? You having a good summer? Raiders keep you busy, don't they? Can never seem to get through a Raiders offseason without some drama and some action. But I guess that's all good, man. It gives you lots of content. So you've been doing a great job keeping us entertained. Kool-Aid season is officially here, and the hype is real. With that said, I had a question for you. With all this activity that's been happening the last couple of weeks with, the defensive tackle room and the cornerback room and this trade that just happened, I wanted to know about Eric Stokes in particular. Because with all that's been going on, it seems like he's just been penciled in as, like, a starting corner. And I'm a little curious about that because, you know, I've seen some not good tape on Eric Stokes over the past couple of years. And I just kind of want to know, like, for your eyes and ears that are on the field, how does he look moving around? What I mean, like, specifically, how does his lateral movement and change of direction look? Because when I saw his tape in the past couple of years, he was really good at running in a straight line. Like, he stays on top of all the vertical routes. He's good at keeping things in front of him. He's a good tackler, smart dude. But his change of direction ability is just bad. I mean, it was so bad that I think I saw a number 4 or 5 receiver on the Rams, a total no-name, just cooking Stokes over and over to the point where, like, he put him on the ground a couple times, including once in the end zone on, I think it was a return route or something, where Eric Stokes just straight up fell down and gave up a touchdown. And I kind of wondered if this was just a result of all the injuries he's been having. I think he's got like a metal screw or a plate in his ankle. And it just made me wonder, like, what does he look like right now? Because if he looks anything like that tape, he's going to be a potential liability out there. So it just got me thinking. The reason I'm asking that is, no matter what we think of this whole Ja'Cory and Bennett trade, whether it was worth it or not, at the end of the day, the cornerback room is thinner than it was a couple days ago. And even if Ja'Cory and Bennett wasn't going to start, he definitely would have been a very high-quality depth piece. And right now, it's only one injury away from having to look at guys like Sam Webb or that JT Woods dude to be a starter. And I don't know, man. That ain't it. So, anyway, curious to your thoughts. Cyrese, out.
Cyrese, thanks so much for the call, and it's a very valid question. Stokes has looked really good. That's the first thing I want to say. Stokes has looked really good so far. But I'd be doing you a disservice if I said injuries was not a concern, right? He was really good his rookie year in Green Bay. You can go back and look, and then he's been injured ever since. So he's on a one-year deal. He's got an opportunity to kind of get his career back on track and get jump-started. But injuries are real, right? I mean, and you're right. The Raiders' cornerback room is not deep. Even if Ja'Cory and Bennett wasn't going to start, you know that he has starting ability, and you know that he could play. And so that's more depth in that room. They just don't have it right now. The Raiders are one injury away from DeCam Richardson starting, JT Woods as a starter. And look, I'll tell you, I said don't sleep on JT Woods. He's not ready to start. He's not ready to play extensive time at the cornerback position. He's still learning how to play cornerback. This is a guy that is a converted safety. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, I'm looking at the depth chart right now. Let me see. In that room, it's not deep, right? Darnay Holmes, Greedy Vance, Caillou Blue Kelly, that's in the nickel. Porter, DeCam Richardson, Sam Webb, Stokes, JT Woods, and John Humphrey. That's it. So, you know, they're definitely going to be combing the waiver wire, something to pay attention to. But, yeah, I mean, that's very valid. If someone goes down, then the Raiders could be in some trouble. There's no doubt about that. So, thanks so much for the call. Do appreciate you. And we'll go ahead and close out with a text. This text is from Scarlet Raider in the 641. Hey, yo, Q. Scarlet Raider from the 614. Oh, wait, 614. I said 641. That's like me messing up West Virginia and Miami. I'm sure I told that story here. I shouted that out on ESPN radio one day. I said, I was talking about Miami, and I said, man, when Kevin Durant sees that phone call from the 304, he better pick up because it's Pat Riley in South Beach. And they're like, Q, that's actually West Virginia. I was like, oh, man, one number off, 305. So anyway, get back to the text. Hey, yo, Q, Scarlet Raider from the 614. I just watched the Geno presser, and I got to say, man, you're good at what you do. I love the follow-up question about Trey Tucker. Watching Geno light up, talking to you has me excited about watching postgame after a big win. Hopefully the sky is the limit for this team, but I have no doubt the sky is the limit for you. Stay true to you and do what you do. Much love. That's Scarlet Raider in the 614, not the 641. Thanks so much for the text, and appreciate that. Look, he shouted out Trey Tucker and said he reminded him of Santana Moss. So I was like, man, I got to follow that up. As a matter of fact, if you don't know what Scarlet Raider is talking about or heard what Scarlet Raider is talking about, here's Geno Smith talking about Trey Tucker and the follow-up from me.
Yeah, I would always see, like, this number 11 making plays on the Raiders, like when I was on, the Seahawks. And I'm like, that guy's pretty quick, he's pretty fast. I thought he was really good just from afar. But, as I've gotten to work with him, really, really special player. I think he's really going to be a big contributor to this offense. Trey's a guy who works hard every single day. He does all the right things on and off the field, like a true professional, a true leader. And I talk to him all the time. Like, I think he's a spitting image of Santana Moss, and I think he can be a really, really good player. And I look forward to all the things that we can accomplish together. But right now he's in a good spot, and we just got to keep working.
Does his eyes get big when you say that? You put the name out there like Santana Moss. Does his eyes get big?
Yeah, I mean, I've been sending them clips. Like I send them all, Santana's routes. I know Santana from back home, so he definitely has that mold, and so I just want him to see, like, hey, this is what I expect from you, and he's ready for it. He's going to be Trey. He's not going to be Tanner, but he's going to be Trey. But it's just some things that he can work on that I wanted to show him.
I mean, when you drop a name like Santana Moss, knowing that he was a hell of a player in the National Football League, you got to follow it up with something, right? You just can't let it slide by and be like, oh, okay. Gino thinks he's Santana Moss-like. I mean, he's got to say something, right? And so I had to do it, but definitely appreciate that. It's funny. I don't know how much of the press conference that you watched, but I didn't realize. Normally I'm standing on the side, but I was standing kind of in the front. And somebody from the Raiders, from their communications team, they tapped me on the shoulder like, can you move? Apparently my head was all in the video. I felt like, what they say, what did Snoop say about, and Suge Knight say, you tired of the producer all up in the video, right? Dancing, doing all this stuff. Well, then come to death row. Yeah, they were saying that about me, apparently, at that press conference on Tuesday. Like, man, can you tell this dude to get his head out of the camera view? So, yeah, my bad. So a couple people took a couple screenshots and like, man, Q, you're all in the camera. I know. My bad. Told you, man, I'm a radio guy, right? We don't have to worry about cameras. These camera things is new to me. It's new to your boy, but that's how we get down. But thanks so much for the text and the compliments. Do appreciate you. So that's all I got time for on today's show. Busy day today. If you check out the Raider Squad show with Chantel Chan, Lincoln Kennedy, and myself, and you enjoy it, this morning, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. live stream. I know some people say, well, why is that going at the same time as the podcast? Well, the podcast is recorded, so you don't have to watch it during that time. You can watch the live stream at that time as well. It's only time that it works for all of us. It's just schedules are kind of wild. We're in 3 different locations, so it happens like that. I think Shannon is always on the stream asking the question, like, why is this going the same time the podcast is? It's just the timing. That's all we got. But that's going to happen this morning. The NFL Spotlight, the highlight show on the Raiders with Ari Mayrob from 33rd-team.com that I talked about. That drops sometime this morning. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll definitely be retweeting it at your boy Q254. They got to do the regular radio show, Unnecessary Roughness on Raider Nation Radio from 2 to 5. Then I got the Raiders Seahawks pregame show with Lincoln Kennedy from 5 to about 6:30, 6:45. We'll pass the sticks on to JT DeBrick and Eric Allen for the game. And then we'll be right back. We'll be right back for the post game, myself and Lincoln Kennedy. So we'll be there at the Raiders facility. And then I got to get to the house and knock out the podcast. So normally I have the podcast done around, it's available for you about 12:05 a.m. Pacific time. It might not quite be on time. I might not get it done on time. Just want to go ahead and throw that out there. So if you're looking for it, it's not because I'm not going to get it done. It's just that everything I just rolled out, I got to get done before I have an opportunity to knock out the podcast. But it will be there. I should get it done right around midnight. But if it's not there immediately, that's the reason why. So enjoy the game. We'll have plenty to talk about. There's no doubt. We'll close out the week really strong, and we'll get your calls and texts. And obviously news and notes will be all about the game as well. So until then, Raider Nation, take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Love on your family. Most importantly, as always, just win, baby.